is Tracy Hendricks, and I am so blessed to be here today. I'm just so happy. I want to just tell you who I am. I want to welcome you into this space. This is a safe space where basically we talk about all things pertaining to love. There's a Bible verse that says everything hangs on the law of love. And so I've just found without intention that in my life, I feel like my relationships, the things that I do, the places I aspire to go, and the person that I aspire to be has always ended up with love somewhere in the circumference. And so as a result of it, I just want to share that with you guys. And so I want to welcome my friends first. I was going to call them guests, but listen. And she knows I've been saying this for years. This is my man, 20 grand. This is LaVonya Douglas. We've been friends for well over however many years, a long time, 30 plus years. We've been friends. And this is also my friend Jenn Brazelton. And we have been friends for, dang, Jen, what would you say?
We're pushing 10.
Pushing 10.
Yeah.
Come on, Jen. Come on. Who said I couldn't be a good friend? But anyway, I just kind of want to just invite you guys to come along a ride with us. I am a hairstylist. I'm also a choreographer. I'm also a business owner. I have a creative arts company. So you won't always see us in the salon space, but this is my studio. Welcome to Purple Passion Studios. And this is where I do hair. And this is where this idea was born. In this space with these two young ladies, just doing hair, living life, and having a conversation. So I would like to kind of tell you a little bit about that story as we get started, because I think it's an important part of this journey, so you know why we're here and what we plan to share with the world. So Vanya.
So let me say, so we might be thinking through this with y'all, but we were both getting our hair done, and she was getting the blue, and I was like, she's fancy. And she was sitting in Tracy's chair, and they were just talking, and listen, anytime you come, y'all might know, Tracy always has a word to give, and she's not even trying. She's just talking. And so she was saying something to Jen, and I was like, oh my God, we should have recorded that. Somebody else need to hear that. And then I was like, oh my God, we should do a podcast. You want to do a podcast? And then what you said, what did you say? You said something after that.
I'm listening.
Yeah. So I'm just so excited. I'm like, this is so good, because a lot of times when you just naturally say things, like things are so powerful when you are a powerful person. You're not even trying to be powerful. You're not trying to, Tracy's not be trying to be deep. She's just a powerful person. So when she says things, when she shares things, it will change your life just in that moment, because it's so intentional for you. When you sit in this chair, she is talking to you and only you. Sometimes the TV be on, we don't even watch the TV. We done got through a whole couple shows, and we have to rewind because it's like, what happened? Because the conversation is just that good.
That's so.
And so, right?
I'm so glad. Okay, so you've jogged my memory enough.
Okay.
So now I can pick up where we were in the story. So I'm getting my hair done, and just beautiful conversation going on. And I start to express how, like, I've been coming to Tracy since 2020. And I started coming to Tracy to get my hair done. I am familiar with her, and with the dancing and at church and stuff like that. But I'd never gotten my hair done by her. But in this particular season of my life, like this mid 2020, and everything is kind of falling apart in my life. And my goal was not necessarily to get my hair done, my goal was to get my hair done, but it was really to slowly start building back up a piece of me that I felt was broken. And more than I could have expected came from that experience. I think I originally told Tracy that I have I just have a negative relationship with my hair, and through getting my hair done with Tracy, it's not just my relationship with my hair that's being evolved, and I appreciate how my relationships have grown. I appreciate how I have grown as a business owner. I appreciate how I can see so much deeper into almost some of the things that we kind of like brush over, and specifically love, you know what I mean? Like the tangible methods of love and how that is experienced. So that is that, and therefore we come to a podcast and from all that, the tangible expressions of love and stuff like that, we come to this place, which I think is just beautiful to sit in with you.
Well, you think, because Tracy always be wearing purple hair, right? And so when you have this like bright blue, I remember when I was in high school, and she used to have purple hair back then, and she would do my weave, and I would put lime green. I would have all these random colors, and everybody thought back then this chick is crazy. But I would be like, Tracy would find the colors. What about this? What about this? And so my mother, thank God that she was with it, but just the ability to, and I'm extra to the power. But Tracy, she was always like, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So even in feeding, me being my authentic self, me feeding, me being comfortable with, I like these crazy things, and it's okay. You don't have to conform to what other people think you should do or be. If you want green hair, girl, get you the green hair.
Yes.
Well, you in school, what they gonna say? You can't have green hair? No. And so even back then, it's just like, her feeding, be yourself, be authentic, be comfortable with who you are. And that's not always something that is praised. A lot of times parents want you to be a certain way or do a certain thing or conform or dress like this or dress like that. And so, just being in that space, I just thought about it sitting here back then. It was like, which is why I feel like I'm so comfortable with myself, because Tracy was like, girl, just do you.
You know what I love about that is because I literally come to Tracy, and she's so kind to me. She says, "What are we doing today, Jen?" And I'm like, I don't know, what are we doing today? Like, I literally come and I'm like, whatever it is that you want to do, I'm so here for it. And every single time, like, I get up out of that chair, and one of the things I do not like, and some people like it, and it's okay, it's just not for me, is finger waves. And like, that's the only thing I just don't do that in my hair. But everything she does, you know what I mean? Like, I think the first time, like, she was like, I think we're gonna cut it short, and then we're gonna take a side. And I'm like, yes, let's do that. And she's like, and you need some zigzag stripes. And I'm like, that's exactly how I feel. And what it does is it creates in me, like, it almost like unlocks a space in me that I didn't know that I wanted to share with the world and stuff like that. Like, right now I'm walking around with blue hair, and I have 5 kids. You know what I mean? Like, and and when I got home, my kids were like, "Oh, it's Sonic Blue," but it's this space in me that I'm like, oh yeah, like, I am a creative and I can express myself, and I don't have to fit into this perfect box of Christianity, of motherhood, of being a wife. I can just express myself and it still be a beautiful thing, and it's not something that, like, I'm trying to be anyone else. I'm just walking in my authentic self, and I appreciate that you have loved me into myself. That like, I appreciate how you have loved me into myself. Like, that feels really, really, really good for me.
So one of the things you're going to find out throughout this journey is that I'm a crybaby. I really am, and I have accepted it. But to hear all of this is overwhelming for me. But it is also refreshing for me, because I never ever wanted to only just do hair. I feel like in the 33 years that I have been doing hair, I have fostered some really great relationships and some really good friendships, even with people who are not necessarily in my inner circle. They could be kind of associates, or I only see them once every 2 weeks or once every month, but there has been such a gift of friendship that has been birthed. And I think for me, I've always just, because I pray, clients who don't know, if you didn't know, I'm sorry. If you've sat in my chair, you've been prayed over. So
you're welcome.
You're welcome. At some point while I'm doing anyone's hair, whether I know them or not, I'm praying over them. And there are certain times when, I'll get knowledge from Holy Spirit on what I should say. And then other times it's just really just born out of authentic conversation and fellowship. A client is sharing with me what's happening, and then I just share what I think based on, and then they're like, oh my God, that's the answer that I needed. And so I think it's more than just coming and walking away feeling cute, because everyone says when you get your hair done, when you look better, you feel better. And that is a very true statement. When you put on a nice outfit, have some earrings on, put a little bit of makeup on, you feel differently and you walk differently. When you just the walk from here to your car, it's different from the walk you walked in like, oh my God, I gotta go
your hat on.
The infamous walk to the car it's kind of got a little stretch in the shoulders and back, you understand. But more than just you walking away with a superficial thing, I think it's important for all of us to walk away with there being some spiritual food. And for me, the best part of it is it's an exchange for me. So while I'm doing your hair and you're giving me money, we're actually having conversation. Not only prayerfully everyone walks away with something, but I walk away with something. I think the conversations that have been had have helped to also shape me. They've helped to confirm when I'm right. They've helped to give constructive criticism when I'm wrong. They've helped to give me insight in the place that I may be stuck in, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not by myself, but I'm gonna get unstuck here. And so I think in relation and just in casual relationships, there's always an exchange, and I love that part of this job. To be able to have a takeaway. I feel like I learned from both of you so many things. And so it's a blessing to me, which is why I said I'm a crybaby. It's a blessing to me to hear that you walk away with something as well. Like, I couldn't ask for anything better than that. So
I love it.
I have a question though, because when you said when she was describing like, oh, we're gonna do this, oh, we're gonna do that. Do you feel like God or the Holy Spirit ever says, or it just comes to you on what to do with their hair, especially if they give you the creative freedom to do whatever you want to do?
The best clients ever give me creative freedom.
Have your way.
If you want to get the best result out of what I can give as a stylist, let me do what I want to do.
Yes, come
Absolutely.
on. Come on.
To answer your question, I'm a creative by nature. I really truly believe it's written on my DNA. It's written on the fiber of my insides. And so there's certain things creatively that I don't give a lot of thought to. When it comes to doing hair, I have a concept in terms of short or long or straight or not. But I literally just allow Holy Spirit to move my hands. I know that might sound spooky and I'm not trying to be strange. But usually if you just give me the creative freedom, I don't always have the full picture in the beginning. It just kind of comes out. Because now I have the liberty to literally create. And in the same space, I'm not only creative in this space, but when I choreograph, when I put together the shows and I do productions, if you just give me the freedom, if you try to tell me, hey, we want a play written about this, I may be stifled because I'm now trying to make somebody else's dream come true. But if you give me the flexibility to say, hey,
do your thing.
Yeah, do whatever it is you feel, that I'm free to create, and it just kind of comes out. And I can pinpoint certain points of time that I'm like, Holy Spirit told me to move right. Holy Spirit said, do this. Holy Spirit gave me this insight. Holy Spirit said, wear this color. I can pick, but for the most part, we're partnering together to make a beautiful masterpiece.
You know what I love about that is, when we were speaking off camera earlier and stuff like that, we had the conversation of people pleasing. And your authentic self, you create all the things that you do from a place of pure freedom, and people pleasing is the exact opposite of that. And the love that overflows from you in a free atmosphere is it's like a wrecking ball. That's what I heard. It's like a wrecking ball because it will knock things over. And I could say every dance production, every play I've seen you do and stuff like that, every time I come to the salon and stuff like that, when you are freely just doing your thing, I've never walked away unhappy. I think this uneven. I walk away oh my God, I'm about to step my whole game up. I'm going to buy a new wardrobe. You know what I mean? There was one whole year I was ooh, I'm buying new clothes every month because I gotta go. I have to make sure my wardrobe matches my hair.
I know
you know
that's
what I mean?
right.
So I appreciate watching you just walk through authentic freedom and love. That's the word that came to mind, like, that's super creative, you know what I mean? Like the freedom and love, just in abundance. That's very cool.
So we're going to write that down as one of our topics. We already have topics that we're going to share with you guys on a weekly basis. We're going to write that down as one of our topics. Freedom and love. Because I think it's interesting, the duality of what you just said. And I do think that oftentimes in life, you're challenged with the very thing. So she said, people pleasing is the opposite of how you exhibit life. I don't know the word I'm looking for. Just the way I do life. And so, but people pleasing has been a huge challenge for me. And so for you to say it's the opposite, it was like light bulbs just went off for me. Because, you know, the enemy of our soul always wants to try to bring the thing that will hinder you and stop you. So it makes me even look at that from a different perspective. It actually irritates me. Irritates my soul at a whole new level, realizing that it is the enemy and the opposite of what I've been called to do.
When she said, I heard the same thing, right? Because when she said that, I when you are free, you are showing up as your authentic self. And so the love of God that is already in you just exudes out because you're free. You don't feel confined. You don't feel forced to be somebody that you're not, someone telling you what to do. So the fact that you have the ability to create, people feel the love, and you are naturally more patient. You're naturally, because you're operating in the gift that God has given you. And so when you're authentically operating that gift, God shows up.
Naturally.
And so that is a beautiful analogy that you gave, because it's like, oh my God, that is so true. So when we talk about the enemy always coming to show up to kill, steal, and destroy, we didn't even notice that.
Not at all.
All this time.
That was like a
right. We think it's something else, but that is the enemy being really sneaky.
Very sneaky. Very sneaky.
Yeah, so now I will approach that differently. Because of the revelation that was just. And these are the type of things that we definitely want to be able to just share. These types of conversations we want to be able to make available to anyone, if there's one, who just, you know, perhaps hadn't seen this revelation and other things that we will talk about as we go forward. I just believe that, you know, we're in a space where, you know, God is just calling us to come to the forefront. And it's so many wives, it's so many mothers, it's so many sisters, it's so many daughters who are living in a stuck place and being in a place of bondage, and they're not operating in the freedom that God has given to them. And so if these conversations help you to recognize and realize a new freedom, that's all we can hope for. And I say with love, I'm gonna say this one last story. Well, we have more time, but anyway. I had a friend, and I was talking to her about family issues, and we were just talking about the challenges, you know, of being a young mother, or, you know, and what that looks like with parents and grandparents overstepping their bounds, or whatever the case may be. And so it was a much longer conversation, but I was saying to her that I could relate to some of the things she was saying. And so she said, do tell. So I began to just share some of my own personal encounters with her. And she says, I don't understand. You don't seem like any of that. And I was like, she's like, so what makes you love again? And how do you continue to trust again? And for me, I just said to her, I've never even thought about that. I don't know how to answer that question, but all I can tell you is that I love God. And at the end of the day, I want him to be pleased. And so even in my daily conversations, I don't always get it right. I'm definitely not always perfect, and I've missed the mark quite a bit. But at the end of the day, when I settle myself, I want to be able to stand before him. I want to be able to look at him, and I want him to be able to look at me. One of the best things that I've ever had is to be able to feel God's eyes and to feel his pleasure. So if I go a period of time and I don't feel him looking at me, then I know I'm out of order. And so if a sister or a coworker or a parent or even a child can get me out of character that it causes him to turn his face away from me, then I'm going to do whatever I can to get back to that place. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing for me is my relationship with him, and that he's pleased with me. And so that's why this podcast is called With Love. Purple Prime is my nickname. Because I'm all things purple, and I believe that and sometimes in life I've been able to overcome obstacles like Optimus Prime. So that's where Prime comes from. Instead of being Optimus Prime, I'm Purple Prime. God is ever transforming me, always changing me. And so as a result, that's where Purple Prime comes from. So we'll cover a lot of topics, from family to children to church, to significant others, to sex, to singleness, to being a wife, to being a mommy. But it's all going to be based and hung on the law of love, because love must be our primary goal.
I love that. I'm so excited to just be a part of this. I feel like when we feel love and we are around people that is love, and you know, as you were describing, like people taking you out of who God naturally has called you to be, your character, then it's like the circle that you allow yourself to be in, and then like slowly removing yourself so that you can show up as God wants you to show up, which is love. So even in all of that, and you know, getting people to think about who is in their circle, who are they connected to, who is hindering you from being all that God has called you to be, who is feeding you, who is adding value to your life, and who is depleting you. And when people deplete you, that's when you can't show up as your full self, and then you don't feel loving. You're not. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You're frustrated, you're irritated. You're not, you know, talking to the lady in the grocery store because you don't even want nobody to see you because you're so irritated. You just want to go home and hide. And so all those different things like hinders us giving love to even the strangers or the homeless man or whatever, because of the people that are around us that hinder us. So I'm excited to be a part of this. I'm excited of all the things, just like this revelation came. I feel like every time that you do this, a revelation's gonna come. You're gonna have a whole running list of all the revelations that come up in your show. Just because you're doing what God has called you to do for yourself or other people, for whoever's watching this, I think it's going to be an amazing thing.
So one of the things that I heard while both of you were talking was safety, right? Because you can't love authentically or even be loved authentically if you don't feel safe. You know what I mean? Like you will naturally put up barriers, and you will put up things that will block that from coming into your world and stuff like that. And so I appreciate that you have always created a safe space, like for people to feel that love and to be transformed. I appreciate the call that's on your life, the mantle that's on your life to be a transformer, and then help others transform through love. Like that is really, really powerful. And I am so crazy blessed to stand witness to this, you know. I love seeing babies birth, but I love seeing this be birthed into the earth. I think it's necessary. It's definitely time.
Thanks, Jen. So it's really interesting. She's a doula, guys, and you'll hear more about that. That she says she loves seeing babies be birthed, but then to see this be birthed. I am right now feeling tingly because she said to me what Holy Spirit said to me, and she has no idea. Yeah, so I think you know the story, but I know you don't. In 2004, I think, I was at a women's conference at my church. It was one of our women's conferences are amazing. Shout out to Victory Christian Ministries International with my apostles, Pastor Tony and Cynthia Brazelton. But this particular conference was one of they're all amazing, but this was like an epic time for me. And I remember just spending time with God, and the service had run over, and literally people were, you know, the service probably ended. I'm not really sure because, guys, first of all, it was a while ago, but when I tell you that it was wreckage, I can't really tell you what time we left church. I mean, what time the service ended. I want to say 9-10 o'clock hour. People were still in the sanctuary at 4 a.m.
Wow.
That's how much residual residue was still lingering from the power of God. So anyway, this particular day, one of the mothers of the church was laughing at me, and I was crying and just spending time with God. I had blocked everybody out. I couldn't even tell you who was in the room, but I remember looking up and she was pointing and laughing. So initially I ignored her because I thought she was just full of the Holy Spirit. And she was. But she was laughing at me, and she says, "You have sound effects."
Oh.
And so I didn't know what she meant, and I began to just kind of like, you know, move away from her. And then, you know, I continued to pray or whatever the case may be. And then another young lady said, "Oh my God, it's the Transformers." Well, when I got back to my room, I was irritated because I was like, wow. I felt kind of insulted a little bit. I'm in the presence of God. You guys are making fun of me, type of situation. And so I remember saying to God, why would she say it's the Transformers? And his literal words to me was, I'm transforming you so that you can transform others.
Oh.